We have a new taxi operator, Juarez Mendez Bayron. Bayron Juarez Mendez. 12 Greenwood Place.
Motion to table.
Second.
Table seconded. All in favor? Aye, opposed. Motion's tabled.
Okay, we have a new license for an old gold and silver and a secondhand article license, both at the same address, 334 Broadway, Cash King LLC.
Want to state your name and your address, please, and your affiliation to Cash King?
Hector Zavala, 3 River Street Place, Lynn, Massachusetts. I'm the owner of Cash
Okay.
King LLC.
All right. Have you spoken to the Ward 1 counselor yet?
Yes, he advised that I would go and talk to my abutters or the neighboring stores, see if they have any issue with the stores being there. I did reach out to every single store like in the same street, and every single one gave me back the same feedback. They don't have an issue with the store being there.
All right. Did you reach back out to the Ward 1 counselor? I have not heard back from him yet.
Yes, because he asked me to email him back like the responses from the abutters and more about the business. So he did receive that email, and yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen anything. Has anyone else on the licensing committee seen anything from Councilor Lozey or anything?
Never heard from Councilor
Correspondence.
Lozey. I recommend to table this, Mr.
We
Chairman,
have a recommendation.
Until we get
recommendation to table until the council is here.
until we get the verbal
Okay.
approval from.
Is there a second? Okay. Second. Undebatable. All in favor? Aye. We table until he comes back to speak with us. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Next item, Madam
Here
Clerk.
we have a new auto repair with a flammable license at 39-51 Suffolk Street, Best Auto Repair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I'm here on behalf of Harvey Cohen. Harvey has other businesses in the city of Lynn. He's had this location. It's a new filing, but not a new license. I was here, I hate to admit it, in 1999 and got a special permit for this location and for this use. Harvey's a collector of vintage automobiles, classic cars that he stores there and works on. And he continued to do that. And then during the COVID, there was a suspension of time, like 13 months. Harvey fell ill and didn't renew. And Janet was very helpful with his filling out the paperwork to renew his license. But the council approved this, as I say, and I have a copy in 1999. And we're just looking to get it renewed.
Okay.
And I see Councilor Calucci's here. He's been in the garage, so.
Yeah, great.
A nice, beautiful Corvette convertible.
Perfect. Excellent. What's the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Second. Who's second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Net.
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? Seeing none. What is the wish of the committee?
Aye. Approve.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. It is approved. That license will be ready Thursday morning after 8:30 in the clerk's office. Okay. We'll pull it at the end.
We have renewals.
We'll take them as a whole if we can. What is
Yes.
the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Those are granted. We have other business. We have AL3 Brothers Landscaping. Is that correct?
Yep, 626 Linway, Christmas tree and wreath sales. It's a renewal.
The renewal on the 626 Linway. Councilor Hogan, do you have anything on that?
Yep.
It came in late.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? None. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
That is granted for AL3 Brothers Landscaping. Any other business? Seeing none. Are you Mr. Juarez Mendez? Okay. Can we take the tax license off?
Motion to take it off the table.
Second.
Table seconded. All in favor? Aye. We're off the table. Clerk, can you read that one again, please?
Bayron Juarez Mendez, 12 Greenwood Place, Lynn, Mass.
That's you? Okay, what's the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
We have a
Second.
motion to approve. Second, and any discussion? None, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That license is granted. It will be ready for you on, Jeffrey, we're in session, please. That license will be ready on Thursday after 8:30 in the clerk's office. Okay? Any other business?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
None, what's the wish of the committee?
Adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.
Come up here.
It was real bad.
A big chair. No, Freddie's not on.
Ball score.
Yeah.
Just waiting for Terry to do some printouts.
Watching TV. I don't think the meeting is out of country. Yes. So
This
the
is what
OBED
I'm
and-
saying.
I think you'll get it.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Recreational Cannabis Site Plan Review Committee meeting to order.
Perfect.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Present.
President Counsel Alanson?
Present.
President Counsel LaPierre?
Present.
President Attorney Lamanna?
Present.
President Mr. Donovan?
Present.
Mr. Cowdell? Absent.
Okay, thank you. We have one item on the agenda, and it's a presentation regarding the Leafy's Holistic Meals LLC proposal to use adult marijuana product manufacturing establishment at 141 Eastern Ave at the Monty's Restaurant. We have representatives of Leafy's here with us tonight. If you could just state your name and address, please.
Good afternoon. Attorney Blake Mensing, 100 State Street, 9th floor, Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm here representing Leafy's Holistic Meals. So I just want to introduce myself briefly. I'm a cannabis attorney and former municipal attorney, and I'm basically here to introduce one of the principals here, Cameron Landry, and have him go over some of the operational details, and then any regulatory questions the committee may have, I'm ready to answer those as well. Thank you.
Cameron Landry, 186 Norfolk Ave, Swampscott, Mass.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name.
Cameron Landry.
Okay, thank you, Cameron. And you want to discuss what your proposal is?
Yes, so we're planning on opening up a small manufacturing, like Italian dressings, bringing healthy options to the edible market, because that's one of the big problems right now. There's no healthy options. So we're just doing that on the side to bring in some extra income.
Okay. And I did attend the public meeting at the site a few weeks back, and my understanding that any manufacturing would only take place while the restaurant and bar are closed.
Correct.
That's correct, yep. It will be limited to space in the basement and in the attic, both of which will be controlled limited access areas, and which will be inaccessible to restaurant staff, and any activities in those spaces would occur after the restaurant's hours.
And I did on the PowerPoint you have printed out, there's a floor plan of it that shows the security cams and the security cage also that all the product has to be in according to the legal regulations.
Okay. I'd also like to recognize the attendance of committee member Jim Cowdell from EDIC. Jim, not to hit you with a question as you sit in the seat, but part of the process is the vetting process with EDIC. Yes. Did they meet the requirements?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We believe that they have the financial abilities to do this, yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the members of the committee? Councilor LaPierre.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I just want to be clear, obviously, Council Allingson's ward, and you attended the public neighborhood meeting. This in no way interferes with any of the ingredients of Monty's, like you mentioned, Italian salad dressing and so forth. It's not going to be infused. It has nothing to do with the pizzas on site. And there's two separate entities, to be clear, including the menu, not just the preparation and the premises of the basement and the attic, but the food itself is not going to have any cannabis related to it, correct?
Correct. They can't even sell product to the public. Correct. Any product that's produced there can only be distributed to, on a wholesale basis, to a licensed dispensary or delivery service, and they're the only ones who can sell it at the retail level.
There were quite a number of jokes about oregano and this business opening up, or not opening up, but on social media. So I just want to be clear with that, because a lot of folks had some misgivings and said they weren't going to frequent Monty's any longer and so forth, so on. So just want to get that out to the general public, that this is totally separate. and just really a spot for them to pay rent for the space that they're going to occupy to do this business. But it's not open to the public, and it's not for sale by any means as a
Right.
product.
If I understand it correctly, if you want Monty's Pot Pizza, you have to add that ingredient yourself.
Okay.
Correct?
So it's a
100% correct.
self-serve pizza.
At a licensed retailer, but not from the facility. That's correct.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Attorney Lamanna.
Is the CCC approved a similar model using an attic and a basement to a restaurant that's open to the public, to your knowledge?
I'm not aware of the specifics of that, but basically what they look at is, do we meet the regulatory standards for security? And with respect to where a facility such as this might be located within a municipality, they defer entirely to the municipality. So after an application is deemed complete, the CCC will send a communication to the City Hall and say, is this property capable of complying with the local zoning? We believe it does, subject to a special permit. That's a process we would undertake if we were fortunate enough to be granted this license and begin negotiating the host community agreement. But yeah, I think the commission will look at the physical security infrastructure. The regulations are really robust in terms of what your cameras must cover. And this is the definition. It's not a mom and pop. It's a pop and son operation. So they'll start with 2 employees. This is an effort to moonlight and add some products in the edibles category that just simply don't exist in this state. It's all gummies, chocolates, that sort of thing. There's nothing that even resembles sort of what I would call regular food. So yeah, I think it's just a unique offering where they're trying to moonlight, take advantage of a space, in a building that they already control. But yeah, the commission's singular inquiry with the city will be, is this okay under city rules? And we do believe it is.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Cotto.
So Monty's has been in business for a long, long time. And so to follow up on Council Lapierre's point, which I think is a good one, because social media, I've seen it. So we don't want to get the message out that if you're going to Monty's, your pizza is going to be infused with cannabis. So I think that we laugh, but I think it's a serious message that we need to get out there. So that's number one. Number two, so we all have been to Monty's. Can you just describe, like, when you're walking in through the parking lot on the side to enter Monty's, where physically will it be? And then the other question is, where will the cannabis be stored in the security measures that we talked about?
So to your first point, with the social media and Instagram, my mom also handles the Monty's Instagram. And on the account, she's been answering people saying it's a separate thing and trying to keep the public informed about that. And then the second thing, if you go to the floor plan page,
Yep.
it even shows the stair drop down for the attic space. And then when you walk up those stairs, there'll be the security camera, and then to the right will be the cage that has the code and the passcode to get into the.
So the Monty's that we all know, right, the bar, the restaurant.
Yeah, you won't see any difference in the
And
back
I
kitchen
think
in
that's
the
an
back.
important point. That's the point I was trying to make.
In other words, the publicly accessible portion of the restaurant won't be anywhere near where the entrances are to these segregated, secured locations in this facility.
And Attorney Lamanna, if I could just ask you a question. Anything, because my first concern when I heard about this was, A, that it was at a restaurant, but B, at a bar. And you can't have a dispensary or a cannabis business anywhere near a bar, especially one that allows children inside, as the restaurant does. Do you see that as a concern, or is that something that the CCC will figure out?
The CCC will look into that. I agree with counsel that what they will be looking at is for security and the like. If you remember, on the Saugus line, there was talk, Jordan Avery's location, there was going to be a restaurant right next door. Mm-hmm. Again, there would have to be security walls to separate the two businesses. This is unique, and it's an attic and a basement, but if they comply with the security regulations that are very detailed, I would say that the CCC would not deny, but they're proceeding at their own risk if the CCC has any concerns about alcohol that close. It would get denied and it wouldn't come back to us.
Okay. And it wouldn't be our first time with authorizing the manufacture of edibles. We did just up the street in the old Maxon's building approve. If you remember the kosher baked
Correct.
goods that never came to fruition as of yet. But are there any other questions from members of the committee? Councilor Allingson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. I'm the ward councilor of the area. Are you the son of the owner of?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
My dad couldn't make it. He wanted me to say hi to you, Edward,
Hi,
earlier
Dad.
because he had a problem at the restaurant. But
I am a fan of your restaurant. It's an institution in Lynn, and that's why when you guys decided to have this in that restaurant, there's a lot of mixed reactions from, and it's self-explanatory, right? Especially from the residents across the street. I myself was asking a lot of questions as well. Just for clarification, Mr. Chairman, are we early on with we're not voting, or is there an opportunity for the residents to speak for public hearing in the future?
There would be a special permit process that would also require a public hearing, Attorney Lamanna?
Correct.
Okay, good. So, and then some of the questions I might reserve for public hearing as well. I receive a lot of calls, and as the ward councilor, calls, emails, either supporting or not supporting at all. The most common concern is contamination. Like, I don't want to bring my kid, either it's in the deck or the basement, but it's in the same building, right? I know you'll have an answer to that. But again, there are people who really you just mentioned the word pot, and that's it. That's end of discussion. And is that something your family is looking forward to face in the future? That losing some really diehard customers. I know some of them move from other states, other towns and cities. Will just drive all the way to Lynn just to get some Monty's pizza.
so from our like the overall, all our regulars and people we talk at the restaurant have all been like when we told them about it and everyone, we haven't had any bad outlooks on that part. And then also on like social media and stuff, we've been answering out, and because we had a big hype with the Barstool Festival we went to, but we always try to. It's not something they're worried about. No.
All right. I just want to thank your family and the people behind this, because you listened to us and Councilor Starbird. You had a not successful neighborhood meeting at first, but we recommended for another one, and you followed our advice. I know this is a long process, but I really want the community to speak and say something in the future, and I wish you guys are ready for that as well.
And just if I may answer part of that, there is zero risk of cross-contamination for twofold reasons. One, the operations of this business wouldn't be while anyone was dining in the restaurant. Two, every product that they would ever produce could only be sold to a licensed retailer or delivery operator. Each individual product will carry a unique alphanumeric ID on it that gets tracked in the state's seed-to-sale tracking platform known as Metric. If you lose a package, the commission drops the hammer off on you. If you had some, funneling from the manufacturing to the restaurant, I would not be surprised for a second that the CCC would yank that license in a heartbeat. So that's a risk that they are not, wanting to run. So they're going to follow the rules to the letter.
And,
Councilor Lapierre.
You want to say something?
Yeah, just one more thing about the cross-contamination, because it's, like you said, a security cage is totally different, whatever. But also on top of that, my family's expertise, since we've been in for 75 years, we haven't had a mark on our liquor license, and our health inspections have always maintained an 8 average, so we're very strict on that stuff.
Councilor Lapierre.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a concern that I'm thinking about as everyone's talking. It might be more appropriate for Attorney Lamanna, but I understand through this process we've permitted now 8 recreational cannabis, and I think 1 medical, should be 2. But my worry through Attorney Lamanna or through the chair would be if this becomes more of a practice in other restaurants and establishments. What's the limitations here? How many of these can be approved? What does this sort of category fall under? Is it, obviously it's not for sale, so can you walk us through the requirements and how many we might be faced with if we approve this one?
Certainly. So per state law, there must be 20% of the number of retail establishments walk in, purchase, that we have for liquor licenses. So that's where the number 8 comes. We have 40 plus package stores in the city, and by state law we're required to have 8 unless we go back to the voters. So there have been 8 approved. 2 of those also were approved medical, although the old, I call it old world remedies, the old Cedric upholstery I don't believe they got into the medical business. It's just Apotheca. We've approved, I believe now, 2 deliveries. There's no mandatory number of deliveries stores that the city has to increase to approve. There was the kosher facility at the Maxon building. They didn't open. I think that special permit probably has lapsed. They'd have to come back at this point. This location is, again, we're not obligated at all. There were new regulations approved by the CCC that encourage and promote cities and towns to approve applications from disadvantaged or people that have been harmed by marijuana laws prior to the legalization. That's going to flush out in the future what the city's ability to have if a minority or a woman or someone that had a criminal conviction relating to cannabis that may have been harmed and getting jobs prior to legalization. But as of right now, it's just the 8, and everything else is in the city's discretion.
Okay.
Councilor Ellingson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to follow up with Councilor Lapierre's question, in layman's terms, so there's no limit, Attorney Lamanna, for services like this?
The council, in their wisdom, should say that we do not want them.
Okay.
We could say that we don't want any deliveries. The 2 have been approved. I would foresee at some point additional delivery applications coming forward, and it'll be up.
So moving forward, it's more on a case-to-case basis.
It's a case-by-case
All right.
basis after the 8, with the caveat that there has been some CCC changes that I have not rolled up my sleeves and dove into yet.
Right.
That has not been universally embraced, including some different calculations on host community agreement money. Most of the facilities were required to pay 3% of their gross. Now, moving forward, cities and towns will expend money up front, and they will submit a bill to a cannabis facility and say, we believe this expenditure was dealt with to overcome or to deal with the negative effects of cannabis. The cannabis establishment can appeal that to the CCC if they feel that this expenditure was not related in any way to their sales, or it was an expenditure that their facility didn't cause a problem in another section of the city. And the CCC, after a hearing, could say, City of Town A, City of Lynn, City of Salem, yeah, you spent it, you thought you were spending it, you're going to get reimbursed. We don't feel that you should be reimbursed. So they've really upended the whole system, rightly or wrongly. The legislature and the CCC have done this, but there have been major changes to the CCC guidelines and how it affects municipalities.
Thank you, Attorney Lamanna.
And if I may, through the chair, just with respect to this becoming a business model that people repeat, any existing restaurant in Lynn would first have to check the zoning map and the zoning ordinance. If it's not in the correct zone, they don't have a starting line, much less a finish line. Right, and there's also the buffer from all schools, 500 feet or more. We don't have any such buffer issue there. And then with respect to impacts, I would say, a manufacturing facility that's open, only at night and not open to the public, I don't see a huge potential for impacts because by its very nature, you can't have people coming to purchase it. So it's only, going to be B2B business transportation that will occur.
You have to share your capital with EDIC. They vet you, make sure you're
Correct. Correct.
And if I'm not mistaken, if approved here tonight, would require special permit with a public hearing, permitting from ISD on their build-out, Mr. Donovan? Yes, sir. And then everything that they need to comply with, security-wise and everything else with the CCC. So I think tonight is just one of many hoops that the proponents would have to jump through to finally be ultimately open. Yes, Councilor Allenson.
Mr. Chairman, I still have reservations, and my apology, based on a lot of research we've done and communications with the residents. I still want to push for this to be tabled so I can discuss this more often to the residents, especially the building across the street where most of my calls are coming from. And we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Just give us more time to have that discussion.
Is that your motion, Councilor?
That's my motion.
Okay, motion's been made to table.
Second.
Motion's been seconded. Non-debatable. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So it's been tabled. I assume Council Arlington wants to see another community meeting to get more residents from especially the Kings Beach Towers building across the street, perhaps their community
will-
room.
As soon as possible, I can get.
Okay. Is that something that you would like to help facilitate, Council Alex?
I will make that meeting, and I'll make sure that the next meeting will still happen while you're our chairman for this committee.
So it'll be like a Christmas party?
Yeah. It will be a Christmas present to whoever.
Okay.
Give us a month.
Sure. Thank you for your
Okay.
time.
Any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yes. Right. Jay, what's sitting over there?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ways and Means Committee meeting. Madam Clerk, I call the meeting to order. Please roll call.
Counsel Net,
Present.
Present Counsel Staubed,
Present.
Present Counsel Hogan,
Present.
Present Counsel Chakutis,
Present.
Present Counsel Walsh.
Present.
Could you please read the transfer, Madam Clerk?
We have $828,798 from the Capital Stab Fund to the Druid School ARP expense.
What's the wish committee?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes.
$440 from DPW expense for the DPW bill of prior year.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes.
$149.50 from the ISD expense for an ISD bill of prior year.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, $150 from ISD expense for an ISD bill of prior year.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes.
$20,000 from ISD expense to ISD payroll to fund the city match for grant.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes.
$232,000 from ISD expense to ISD payroll to fund operations or elimination of inspections from an outside vendor.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, $3,900,000 from the Stab Fund to fund an architect, OPM, and construction manager for the new Pickering Middle School.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes.
$132,000 from the Capital Stab Fund to the Police Department to fund purchase of servers.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes.
$198,500 from the Capital Stab Fund to fund a design study for Central Ave.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes.
Certified fund, please.
You have $350,000 for upgrades to the Lynn Commons Historical Fountain Plaza.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
$100,000 to the school department for the FY24 e-machine program.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
$27,391.50 to the school department to cover the youth employment from October 2023 to April 2024 for 6 youth.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
$400,000 to the school department for the FY24 FC 325 tag grant.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Orders, please.
We have pursuant to the votes of the Lynn City Council dated July 13, 2021, September 28, 2021, regarding the American Recovery Plan Act, the Lynn City Council hereby authorizes that the city shall allocate the sum of $30,000 for the ARP for consulting and outreach services for Capital Strategic Solutions, Inc.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Ordered that pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A, the City of Lynn hereby accepts a gift from Win Innovations, formerly known as Wheeler Brader, in the amount of $3,500 for the purpose of donating resources for civic events, example, the annual tree lighting and children's activities. Further ordered that the comptroller is hereby authorized to take any and all necessary actions to effectuate the purpose of this gift.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Other business, please.
Out of that, pursuant to Mass General Law, Section 53A and 53A and a half, City of Lynn hereby accepts a gift from Tesoro, distributor of Everett, Mass., for a gift of food and delivery of food to the City of Lynn Senior Center, valued at $2,216.35. This gift will include both services and tangible personal property.
Motion to approve.
Where's the Wish Committee?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
And the last order is that His Honor the Mayor hereby authorized to execute a project funding agreement and all other necessary documents relating to the Mass School Building Authority Accelerated Repair Program for the replacement of windows and doors at the Druitt's Elementary School.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis? Yes.
Yes.
Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Is any emergency on this, Mr. Comptroller? No emergency. Any new business?
No new business.
No new business. What's the Wish Committee?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Okay.
Terry, we good to go? Huh? Good evening. I'd like to call the Public Property and Parks Committee meeting to order, please. Roll call.
Counsel Staben?
Present.
Present Counsel LaPierre? Present. Present Counsel Calucci? Present Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present Counsel Field?
Present.
Present.
Thank you. One item on the agenda, request from the Health Department to install Narcan cabinets on public property throughout the city at specific points at high-risk areas. We have Candace McClory, Jenny Almonte, Antonio Gutierrez from Lysoa, members of the Lynn Police Department, members of the Lynn Fire Department here as well. Just state your names and address, please.
Good afternoon, Jennifer Almonte, Public Health Nurse, City of Lynn. Jen Almonte, Public Health Nurse.
Thank you.
Candace McClory, Opioid Program Specialist, Public Health.
Okay. Welcome, ladies. Would you like to talk about what it is that's being proposed in the places that you wish to install these?
Yeah, so we're proposing to place 5 naloxone boxes in areas with high-risk overdoses, and we determine those areas through heat maps with the police station data that has been given to us. And the purpose of this is to increase low-barrier naloxone access to the community. Narcan is available over the counter for $44.99, I believe it was, at CVS. Anyone can, you don't need a prescription. Anyone can purchase it. There are no age restrictions. And we're just looking to offer it for free to help decrease the overdose stats in the community.
Okay. And if I could just ask, how many units or cartridges or whatever would be in the boxes?
Each box holds 9, which would be 18 doses per box, per naloxone cabinet box, yes.
And how will the inventory be monitored?
The Public Health Department.
Like on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, yes.
Okay. Attorney Lamont, if I could just ask one question. Is there any, and I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, is there any potential liability on the city if folks expect this product to be in those boxes and something, God forbid, were to happen and there was not?
There would be no exposure for the city of Lynn for liability if it was used or there was any there. It's Good Samaritan law. There's no promise of any public safety assurances on the part of the city under Massachusetts law.
Okay. And just for the record, I just want to list off the 5 places that are listed here, all on city property. McDonough Square, the Lynn Common, Liberty and Sutton Street area, the Goldfish Pond area, and the Mount Vernon Street area. Is there any questions from the committee? Yes, Councilor Chakutis.
I just have a quick question, where 3 of them will be in Ward 5. Like you said, the health department's going to go by and monitor it and refill it. Do you have any fear that the kids walking by, let's say, for instance, on the Commons when they're getting out of school, do you guys have any concerns about them just going in, grabbing it, or how do we?
So again,
I know we don't have control.
Yeah,
over that.
there's no restrictions for it, and what naloxone is, it's an opioid antagonist. So its only job is to remove the opioids from the opioid receptors on your brain temporarily, so for 20 to 90 minutes. So its only job is to take the opioid receptor off. So if there are no opioids in the system, it will not, there's no reaction to the medication. And then I'm sorry, if I could just add to your question of it not being there, we are going to develop like poster signage to put inside the naloxone box to mention, you know, if you open this and there is no naloxone here, it is a medical emergency, please call 911, and then also offer other locations where the naloxone will be located.
Okay. And is,
I just have one more
I didn't
part
see
of
the hands go up, but I'll let you follow up, Councilor Jacutis.
The other part of the question is, where you're going to be replacing it, does the health department have enough staff to go out to be replacing it all the time?
As of now, yes, we do, and we've also have been offered support through some of our local programs, such as Girls Inc. and the MRC. They've offered to help us with that if we need it as well.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Field?
Just like Councilor Chakutis, there's also one location there that is in Ward 3. Question, what is the process of selecting the areas? Do you have data why you picked Goldfish Pond area where?
Yes. So we have heat maps, which I believe it is in you guys' proposal, where it shows where the increased risks for overdose are. And we also, through other data, we've gotten data on times that overdoses happen, which a lot of them happen after 5 o'clock, which is when most services are closed, so people would need to be able to access naloxone during those times. So we've done pretty extensive data to determine where.
So what you're saying, there were overdose cases in your data that happened in that location?
Yes, and it shows that that is a high risk for overdoses, so that need for the Narcan access would be important in that area.
Good to know. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Field?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As chair of the opioid subcommittee, I do sit on this opioid abatement working group. And this has been in a discussion for probably about 6 months. Forgive me if I'm off by a month or so. It's something that has been discussed at great length during our monthly and sometimes bi-monthly meetings. As Candace had explained, those 5 particular areas are hotspots according to the public safety records of the Lynn Police. It's something that I'm in favor of. It's harmless to anybody that tries it without even having an actual overdose. It's a harmless product. And to think of the immediate need that people need this in case of an emergency. I know during earlier today for our meeting, Candace brought up a good point that even, there was a 14-year-old that died last year from an overdose. So the more reduction that we can do in our community, I'm all in favor of it, and I ask my counselors to support it.
Okay. And I see we have Chief Reddy here, as well as Deputy Chief O'Toole. And I just recognized you, Chief. Is there anything you would like to say?
No, I think the naloxone improved the critical tool in the effort to save lives.
Okay, thank you. And I just have one other question. What is the funding source to keep these stocked?
So right now the naloxone is funded through the Community Naloxone Purchasing Program through the state, so DPH right now.
Okay, and if we were to lose funding for this inventory and to keep them restocked, would the boxes then be removed so there'd be no false advertising?
We would then resort to our abatement funds to then support it. If for some reason we no longer have funds, then yes.
Okay, because I would just hate to see these boxes there and have them go unfilled for a period of time.
Yes, absolutely. If all the funding between the abatement and the CMPP program no longer exists, then yes, we will have them removed.
Okay, and I'd also like to add that Faith Haskell from National Grid has also been in touch of where they can go and what would be approved. Any other questions? Councilor Lapierre.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to ask what the sort of the stockpile of the reserves look like in terms of the length of how you'll be able to make replacement of this life-saving drug, and perhaps what's the timeline for ordering when supplies do get low?
Ordering takes about 2 days. It's very quick turnover time. Right now, we have 300 doses. And again, like I said, it's about 2 days, so delivery is very prompt.
Thank you.
And Council President Walsh just asked about temperature. Does that make a difference?
So these boxes are weather temperature, not monitored, I'm sorry. They're made to be able to withstand temperatures of -40 for -4 for up to 4 days. Around here, we typically don't have an extensive -4 days, but if we do, we would go out and replace and restock them. But the cabinets are made to be weather resistant.
Okay, and heat has no impact on?
Same thing, 104 is the max, so it would be 4 days for 104 degrees.
Okay.
Together.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Any questions to my council colleagues who are not on the committee? Okay, what is the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve?
Motion's been made to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Council Field. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Great. Good to go.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
You guys.
Jeffrey, it's not a public hearing. We're not taking questions. Is there any other business?
Motion adjourned.
Council Field.
Jeffrey, we're in session. Jeffrey, we're in session.
You're not able to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one piece of new business for local black excellence, the recognition celebration to use the City Hall foyer for February 6, 2024 at 6 p.m. With 100 chairs, podium, sound system, and a Spanish language interpreter. I make a motion to approve that.
Motion been made, seconded. This is something that takes place every year. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci? Yes. Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Okay, any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yep,
I'm ready when you are, Madam Chair.
I'm ready.
Good evening, everyone. Today, November 14, 2023, I would like to call the Utilities Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Counsel Allen
Present.
Present Counsel McLean?
Present.
Present Counsel Hogan?
Present.
Present Counsel Calucci?
Okay, we have two items on the agenda. Madam Clerk, please read the first one, please.
We have Jackson Street to install a 35-foot Class 4 wooden pole on the sidewalk in front of 13 Jackson Street.
Is there anybody here wish to speak in favor? Name, address for the record, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rafael Carelen, representing National Grid, 170 Medford Street, Malden. In this case, it's a new service in Jackson Street, actually in 13 Jackson Street. The secondary lines are in the east sidewalk of the street, but now we're proposing to install a pole in the west side because the house is at the back of the property, so the distance of the span is so long that the lines are so low. And the new cable is gonna be heavier, so we need to install a pole to decrease that span.
Just take your seat, sir. We'll continue the public hearing. Anybody wish to speak in favor? In favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anybody here wish to speak in opposition? Opposition? Opposition, seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Any questions from the councilors? It's actually my ward, so didn't get any calls or whatsoever. Councilor Hogan? Motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, petition carries, saying aye. Petition carries. What's the next one, Madam Clerk?
We have Nahant Street to install conduits across Washington Square and down the sidewalk on Nahant Street to a new heavy-duty handhold.
Anybody here wish to speak in favor?
Yes, sir. Rafael Carrillo, National Grid, 170 Medford Street. And it's gonna be a new apartment building, and we need to fit that project to install two 4-inch conduit. Like it's gonna be like 80 feet from the pad mount transformer that is in the square to a new handhold that's gonna be in the sidewalk.
Thank you. Just take your seat, sir. Anybody here wish to speak in favor? In favor? Saying none, the part of the hearing is closed. Anybody wish to speak in opposition? 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 Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Councilor Colucci, this is your ward, sir.
I just want to, can you make sure you put it back where, I see all the stuff going on in the city of Lynn, doing potholes and lines, and they don't fix it like it should be. I want a stipulation that it returns to normal as it was, because it's all over the place. Nahant Street's, it's a disaster.
Thank you, Councilor. The clerks make sure that stipulation is added to the notes. You get that notes as well?
Yes.
Yeah. And that goes to all the other wards and all of your projects as well, Rafael, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. What's the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second? Saying aye?
Aye.
Petition carries. Any new and old minutes, agenda?
Nope.
Nothing? What's the wish of the committee? Councilor Lapierre.
I know I'm not on the committee,
ahead,
Mr.
Councilor.
Chair, but in light of Councilor Colucci's stipulation, I do want to commend the grid and other utilities that finally were able to restore both Jennis Street this past week and Millard Avenue to its original state. It took about a year, frankly, for that condition to improve, and they did half of the side of each street, which was where the work was done. But I echo Councilor Colucci's sentiments about, the timeliness of these projects. When they're dug up, they need to be curb to curb, and they need to be restored to their original state. I can't tell you how many times we've had new dead-end streets, for example, circles, courtyards, done by the city at the cost of the city and state, only to be tore up a week later because there was this issue or that issue, and then they never make it look like it was when it first got new pavement. So a good note here on Millard and Jennis, but it needs to happen more frequently and more timely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Councilor Lapierre. What is the wish of the committee?
Adjourn, please.
Adjourn.
Second?
You the card, Raphael?
The screen is... You're in the public. We are
Public Safety and Public Health Committee meeting for Tuesday, November 14th. Roll call, please.
Council Field?
Present.
President Council Lapierre? Present. President Council Chakutis?
Present.
President Council Allensburg?
present.
President Council Hogan?
Present.
Okay, we have two constable reappointments, Jordan Avery, 20 Heath Court, and Lynn.
What's the wish of the committee?
Motion approved.
Motion
Second.
approved. Second. Any discussion? None. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That license is granted.
The second one is Richard C. Colucci, 265 Ocean Street, and Lynn.
What's the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? None. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That appointment carries. No, I can read it. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have a discussion regarding the public safety in the city of Lynn. This is a follow-up of our initial city forum that was held just over a month ago at the Ingalls Elementary School, and discussion about recent uptick in violence in that particular area of Essex Street. I invite Mayor Nicholson ahead to discuss where the city's at since then. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Field. Good evening to the council. Thank you so much for having me. And I know I'll be followed by colleagues that are covering the same topic, and grateful for all their help as well. And what happened this summer was absolutely tragic, and it was outrageous in the sense that it generated genuine outrage for our community, and we absolutely need to respond, and I think we all agree that the response needs to build on the resources that we have. And so we really appreciated the opportunity to come together as a community at Ingalls. Many of you were there, and I know many of you, we had discussions in the ensuing days for those of you that couldn't make it, and I'm incredibly grateful for the outpouring of support from the community together, both at that community meeting at Ingalls and also at the march in the following days, to send a clear message that we are not going to tolerate that kind of violence in our community. I imagine you all recognize that this issue was top of mind for our colleagues in the school department as well, in their work to develop all students socially and emotionally, through social emotional learning, and also all the steps and measures that are taken with respect to school security. I also wanted to share some of the steps that we are taking coming out of the community meeting that we had at Ingalls. And you'll hear from some of the specific organizations, our partners, and we also heard from Councilor Hogan as well at that event, and I really appreciate the partnership from Stop the Violence. One of the themes of that discussion at Ingalls, I think, for those of you who were there, was around the opportunities for mentoring youth, both in the importance of those relationships for the youth, and for an interest in adults in this community that can be those role models and have an interest in stepping up and giving back. And so one of the next steps that came out of that meeting is we reached out to nonprofits across the city to try to figure out who has mentoring programs in place that we can help recruit mentors for, to help make that connection, to have the city sort of facilitate that. So we're working with the Boys and Girls Club, Girls Inc., and the YMCA, who responded with mentoring programs that they have, and we'll be open to others as well, to the extent they'd like to step forward. And we're also working with a statewide organization called the Mass Mentoring Partnership to try to bring that perspective as well as we set to work and create those opportunities in the city. I should note that you all, I think, took a helpful step in that theme when you recently moved to create the Council on Adolescence, or the Task Force on Adolescence that Councilor McLean put forward, and I think similarly want to make sure that we're collectively marshaling all of the resources we have in this community to support our youth, and more to come on that as well. Another next step coming out of that meeting with that same theme around working with youth were the drop-in centers. So thinking about touch points that we already have and how we can build on those. And so what we did with respect to those drop-in centers was had a conversation with the Lynn Police Department and Parks and Rec that run that program, about how we can, thinking about what we could do to add to it, to potentially bring a more formal programming to it through mentoring. And before we did anything, we wanted to hear directly from the youth. So we surveyed the youth, and we're still going over those responses, but we've had dozens of points of feedback from the youth that are availing themselves of those resources and have also asked the school department to partner us with that to try to reach those students that aren't necessarily availing themselves of those resources and what might invite them to come in. Another next step that came out of that meeting around the theme of meeting the community where they're at was a canvassing effort that we conducted with the police department, Parks and Rec, Community Development, Public Health, the Parking Department, as well as Councilor Allensug, and because we did it in Ward 3, as well as Councilor Starbird, who we talked to, it was right on that line there. And we, with volunteers from the city, including myself, Councilor Allensug, the Chief of Police, others, hit over 200 doors, going door to door saying, the city is here for you, and we want you to know what the resources are that are available. Targeted in that neighborhood. We know that this was a difficult summer, and we want you to know that the city's here. We left with them a packet that we created, trying to collate all the resources and programs that are available, from National Grid, utility assistance, to heating assistance, to rental assistance, to legal aid, to after-school programs, and also including how to connect with law enforcement if you have information that law enforcement would benefit from, and trying to bring those to involved in incidents to justice. So trying to establish and build trust in the community, door by door, street by street. We got very strong feedback, I would say, from both the folks that we talked to and also the volunteers from the city to help us get outside this building and get into the community. It was a great experience and something that we'll continue to develop. It was the first time we had done something like that, and so we thought of it as a pilot, but I hope it's something that we continue to build on. You'll hear more from the police department in their a great development that they have in hiring a additional data analyst. You might recall that was something that we added previously, that they had a request that they had brought to us, and they're growing that department because of how important it is to know what's happening where and to have real-time information. And they were able to do that through a grant. And you'll hear from Roca as well, who is working on expanding their presence on some of the grants that they have. We also have had conversations with the police department about closing some of the gaps that exist in the city's flock camera network, which, as you know, helps us track cars and movements of cars by video of the license plates. And they also were able to hire a new grants person to help us identify funding sources for other initiatives, which I think is going to be really promising and helpful. They'll speak to this as well, but as you might imagine and probably hopefully saw, coinciding with the start of the school year, there was an increase in uniform patrols to sort of show that presence, particularly at school dismissal. And this is something the chief and his department closely monitors in terms of the funding implications of that. At this point, it's early enough in the budget cycle that there's not a need for an additional request, but it's something we will be keeping a close eye on because I think those additional patrols have been really important in both from a law enforcement perspective and also from the community presence perspective. So we really appreciate the partnership with the entire council, the committee chair here with Councilor Field, and we will continue to prioritize this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just before our next speaker, I just want to, again, first apologize for the delay. I know our public safety meeting was supposed to start at 5 p.m., but because of an earlier subcommittee meeting that was extended, I do thank everyone for their patience. I know this particular topic has been near and dear to everyone's heart that's here, and I don't want to cut short any of the time for those that have planned to speak. So I apologize, and I thank you for your understanding. Next is Police Chief Chris Reddy. And I also want to point out that Deputy Vale and Deputy O'Toole from the Lynn Police Department are also here in attendance. Thank you, Chief.
Good evening. Council Field, members of the council, thank you for inviting me here tonight. Much of my comments have already been articulated by the mayor, because as you can imagine, we have had regular and ongoing communication leading up to that tragic and very difficult period that we had at the end of the summer, but certainly even more so since then. So there's a good communication back and forth, and I appreciate the support that the mayor's office has provided as we try to respond to those issues and more. Obviously, anytime we have an incident of violence in our community, there's an impact on the victims and those that care about the victims and the neighbors where it happens. When you have a series of incidents in such a short period of time, a 2-week period of time, it's really exponentially increased throughout the whole community, and that wasn't lost in us. And we want the community to know that we do hear their concerns. We have worked hard, and I think we've had some success since those happened in terms of holding some individuals accountable and also working towards some more long-term solutions. Overall, in 2023, there's been a 26% reduction in fire alarm-related incidents. To date, we have recovered 46 firearms that were illegally possessed or otherwise associated with a crime, which, as bad as that sounds, is an improvement from last year as well. And prior to that terrible period at the end of August and the beginning of September, we had not experienced a homicide. We did have 3 homicide events in the space of 2 weeks. 2 of those have been cleared, and I'm very confident that we will see justice in the 3rd one as well. At the start of the school year, we implemented a program, as the mayor discussed, to have increased patrols, both uniform and plain clothes, to address the safety concerns that many felt and also to deter any disorder or other harmful behaviors that might occur. We continue to have those patrols, particularly in our plainclothes units, particularly focused on the areas around the high schools during the dismissal period. We have added an additional person to our gang unit, and we continue to work with the state police gang unit and our federal partners on a range of initiatives, and we appreciate their support and their ongoing assistance. As the mayor discussed, we are certainly monitoring our budget. Right now, I believe that we have our needs met, and we'll continue to monitor it. We're also working on to explore different grant opportunities, one through the district attorney's office that might provide some additional funding to support these types of initiatives. We have regular communication with LISOA and ROCA throughout the year, but in the immediate aftermath of these incidents that occurred, we had increased that contact and coordinated on strategies for outreach and how to respond to, especially to the at-risk youth in our community, and those efforts continue. We coordinated with the mayor's office, as he said, on the event at Ingalls and in the neighborhood outreach event. And I agree, I thought those were very successful and well received by the community. We are, again, not only looking to consider whether expansion of the teen drop-in centers is something that there's a need or an interest in, but we're also committed to continue the initiative we started 2 years ago during the school vacation periods. We host drop-in centers for youth at a middle school in Eastland and a middle school in Westland to give the kids a place to go. And it also provides an opportunity for positive engagement and interaction with our offices, which is part of our effort to overcome barriers and build relationships with the youth, which I think is crucially important in our community. And I think it's been very successful, and we're committed to continuing that, as well as a range of other initiatives that allow us to have positive interaction with youth. We have hired a crime analyst this year, and we are currently in the process of hiring a second one. We think this is going to really allow us to dig into our data and understand our issues and help us to better deploy our resources, but also seek additional grant funding that will provide training, equipment, and other resources to help us do our job better and serve the community better. So we're very much looking forward to the work that is occurring there. And again, as the mayor said, we were able to use an unfilled clerical position after a retirement to hire a grants person and who has just begun, and we are very encouraged with her experience. We think that's going to be a very successful effort to get additional resources available to our community. As the mayor mentioned, we think there's a need for additional flock cameras. They're a fantastic resource for identifying wanted vehicles or vehicles that are otherwise engaged in illegal behavior or wanted for one reason or another. But we're also hoping that through the grant manager that we're hired to find grant funding to add community cameras in our city. We're one of the few urban areas that does not have a community camera system in place, and we think there's a need for that, and that will help us to identify individuals who are engaging in a range of crimes quicker and prevent further harm from occurring in our neighborhoods. That's all I have at this point, but I'm certainly available for any questions any members of the council may have.
Thank you, Chief Reddy, and thank you to the men and women of the Lynn Police Department.
Thank you, Chief.
As Mayor Nicholson and Chief Reddy mentioned, there are a number of community partners, two of which we've invited to speak here tonight. So at this time, I'll invite the representatives from ROCA to come ahead and share your thoughts. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Joe Finari. I'm the site director of Roca, Chelsea, and Lynn. This is Emily Fish, assistant director of Lynn. It's a pleasure to be here with everybody tonight. The month of November is Gratitude Month for Roca. And we celebrate that. We celebrate that entire month, and we are very grateful to be here with each and every one of you, the mayor, the council. Thank you for having us. When something occurs, or the events occur that happened in Lynn over the past summer, believe it or not, there's a ripple effect that occurs. And there's a ripple effect that occurs through our organization at Roca. We serve young people between the ages of 17 and 25. And within that confines and that group of young people, there are other young people that are touched by all of these issues that happen. So when those occur, that there's an enlightenment and heightenment, an opportunity to get out there and really go out there and do that work that we do best. Relentless outreach, grabbing hold of our young people, bring them into a safe setting at the Lynn site. We're very fortunate that we celebrate our one-year anniversary at a new site on the Lynnway. If you haven't been there, I encourage you all to come visit. Please come visit. It's a great opportunity. We outgrew our old site. Roca provides a 3 to 4 year intervention model for young adults that vary, that are in the very center of urban violence. And this is what we're talking about tonight. It's a couple of situations that happened out there, and we need to be a little more reactionary and really involved and get out and be more involved in the community. Emily and her team have saddled up and really have tried to permeate what's going on out in the city, try to identify additional youth, bring them into the program, and try to help them out. We work alongside with LISOA. I'm sorry, Antonio. I didn't mean it. Through our Safe and Successful Youth Initiative grant that the city has here. We're funded by 2 grants in the city, SSYI, Gun Violence Prevention. As the mayor stated, we're looking to hire a second youth worker, and I am interviewing now for a second youth worker on GVP because of all the gun violence that's happening in the community. Go out and outreach. We outreach in the community. We outreach behind the wall in the prisons. We talk to everybody. Referrals are made through the relationships that we establish through our engaged institutions, and those engaged institutions are the police, probation, and the courts. We have such a relationship with them at any given point in time. We can reach out to our community partners for any assistance that we need. Any incident that occurs, we want to make sure that if there's any of our young people that are involved, we're out there and we're involved in the community. You know, Lieutenant Donovan, who happens to work for the Lynn Police Department, I am probably on the phone with him 2 or 3 times a week, just checking in, number one. Through the SSYI grant, we're required to meet monthly. Through the grant, I have to meet with the grant twice a month. And then the referrals that we get for Safe and Successful Youth Initiative usually are initiated out of the police department. So there's a need and a want there. We have 50 young people that are under that grant presently. There's 25 young people that are under the Gun Violence Prevention Grant. We're very busy, and we anticipate getting more busy based on what's going on. The work that we do with the police department is immeasurable. The relationship that we have is phenomenal. At any given point in time, I can call the chief and get any assistance that we need, any incidents that occurs. If there's any sign of gun violence, or Emily reads anything or sees anything on the news, or we hear anything from the young people, we're reaching out. We want to know what's going on, and we're going to get down there. We're going to have the boots on the ground. We're going to be out in the field. I'm grateful for the ability to support, get the support through the police department through the analysis, the crime analysis position. That's not only going to help the police department. Being a former law enforcement person, I love data. I like to chase data. I like to chase data live. And that's going to be so important because it'll identify where it happens, other people that may be involved, and that's going to afford us the opportunity to get out there, get in the community, and bang on a few more doors and identify ourselves and maybe identify a few young people out there that may be at high risk. Last year, we serviced approximately 115 young men. In addition to that, we serviced 29 young ladies. Let's not forget about the female population that's out there as well. We service both of them in the city of Lynn. We provide educational and workforce training with our young people through Roca's intervention model. Emily will talk about that a little bit more. One big thing I do want to talk about, the chief and I we've been talking over the past couple of weeks. I've been with the mayor's office probably over the past month. We've got a meeting with the school department on the 27th. We're trying to get in there and try to duplicate some of the type of work we do in the city of Chelsea in the schools and get in there and try to support the young people that are in between that real difficult age, 14, 15, and then get them to 17, 18, and really try to get them on caseload. One thing I want to leave you, we have a transitional employment program that affords our young people in the community to go out and learn the soft skills that are necessary to move on to the next steps of employment. We've been afforded through your ARPA grant in the city of Lynn. We started that in August of this year, and it's been nothing but successful with the young people. Try to get in the door a few years back, and thank God ARPA let us in there. It's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to get the young people up, make them feel good about themselves, show up at the building at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then that's less of a chance that they're probably going to get themselves in trouble during the course of the day. Enough of myself. I'd just like to have Emily give a little discussion about what her day-to-day activities are and the work that she does in the community with her staff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you everyone for having us tonight. Joe covered a lot of it. We've been in Lynn now 7 years. We started as a really small team. There was only 3 of us, and so 2 youth workers and me. And now we have 5 youth workers, hopefully going to become 6. And we have a full-time educator, a full-time clinician, and also a full-time program associate who helps us with data and programming and all sorts of other things. So if you came to Roca on any given day, it is a drop-in center. We're not a school. We're trying to meet young people where they're at. The young people we target are not ready, willing, and able to show up. So I kind of jokingly say, if they can show up here every day at 7 a.m. with no problem, they're probably not for us. So we are intentionally going after young people who don't want to engage in a program like ours. So we give ourselves 3 to 6 months to even get them to speak to us. So if we go knock on a door and a young person says, I'm not interested, I say, okay, well, I'm going to come back and see if you're interested later. And we go back again and again and again and again. So we don't really believe in taking no for an answer. Young people often say, like, sign me out of your program. And I politely say, like, there's no signing out. You know, we're not DCF, we're not DYS. Once you're with us, you're stuck with us. And so we have 5 youth workers all working with 25 young people. And the whole point is that youth worker's there from everything from, I've never had a Social Security card, how do I get that? To, I'm fighting with my girlfriend and I need to go somewhere safer than here. And we're pretty much, we're open from basically 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. at night because there's different shifts. And we're basically on call all the time. And when the young people come to the building, at first it's just relationship building. We're strangers to them, so we have to build trust. And we have 4 years of our program because we know change takes time. It doesn't just happen with a snap of a finger. And I would be lying to all of you if I say a young man who comes to Roca is miraculously and miraculously changed the minute he gets there. It's a journey. So they start with a youth worker. They then start getting educational services. If they're in school, they can get tutoring. If they're out of school, they can work on their high set. If they have a diploma, we'll work on CDL school or a vocational training or going to a community college. We'll do FAFSA with them. They also meet with a clinician who's a licensed clinician who's there all the time. They're able to take cognitive behavioral therapy classes, so all of our staff is paraprofessionally trained in that and able to deliver it anywhere. And then there's like, the offerings go on and on. We have fatherhood classes, we have financial literacy classes, we have healthy habits, which is all about a healthy relationship to intimate partners, your masculinity, all of those things. And we do a lot of restorative justice, which is like basically like groups that intend to restore harm. So if we have young people who are in different gangs, we bring them together in that circle so we can figure out how to have them in the space safely together. If we lose a member of our community, we will have grief circles to kind of restore the harm done by loss. If someone has an incredible accomplishment, we will come together and celebrate that in restorative justice. So it's a really nice alternative form of communication that allows young people to kind of be heard differently and speak differently about themselves and reflect in a different way and think about their relationship to the community in a different way. We always say it's not about changing others, it's about changing yourself and your relationship to the community. So we like to think we're offering the young people a lot, but I think at our core what we're really offering them is a safe space, a community of adults who are behind them and have their best interest at heart, and also a community of peers who are definitely not perfect, but are also trying to make some of the changes that they are trying to make, because that is not something they necessarily have with their friends. So they get kind of, we do basketball, we do field trips, we go out to eat, we have dinner at our building every Thursday night so they can have a hot meal guaranteed every Thursday. So really what we're trying to do is just create a space that young people want to come to and then slowly give them new skills that they can use to make their lives better. Because the reality is if they can't get an education, if they can't get a job, if they can't control their emotions, then they're going to go back to what they were doing before. So like Joe said, we welcome anyone anytime because we really think that the community we're building is, like I said, it's not perfect, but it's helping young people think differently, feel differently, behave differently. Our CBT is really, really good at that. It's all about our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and how to change those. If we're in a negative thought, feeling, behavior cycle, how do we get to a positive thought, feeling, behavior cycle? And I know it's been a really hard for everybody in Lynn over the last 3 months, and it's been no different at our building. The tension is really palpable, but I'm grateful that we've been getting a lot of support from the city and community members, and I'm hoping that, that our impact only gets larger as we're able to serve more young people and we're able to expand our program. So thank you so much for your time and for listening.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Joe. And thank you, everyone at ROCA. No. Next up to speak is Antonio Gutierrez and representatives from Lysoa here in Lynn. I know Councilor Starbird's a member of their committee, and I know Councilor Hogan would stop the
Good
violence.
evening, everybody. Councilors, Mayor, Chief, good evening. Thank you for inviting me. I don't normally bring script. I think at this point, as many years as I've been doing this, right? But what I can tell you, that along with my partner, and we do have another partner, I'm no longer one, no longer alone, right? After all these years. Two, we are in the school system, right? One of the things that we are working hands-on now is with middle school and right in with high school. Along with the superintendent and deputy superintendent, we've been allowed to be able to go into the school and start the conversations early with the young people. Why? To cut them off before they get to the court system so that they don't become a number. That is our concern, is that a lot of the majority of our young people are becoming numbers. I'm not a big numbers guy, because, and I get it. We need numbers to get the funding, to get the money. So in turn, our children become money. We're trying to cut the numbers back. This past year has been rough, as the chief said, right? I'm so grateful for the police department because over the years, especially Deputy Chief Vale, we go back, way back from the very beginning. It took a long time to get to the point to where I'm at, to be able to have the relationships that I have in the city. Along with all of you comes all the community in Lynn in general. It's not about newspaper clippings or, you know, where I've been or where have I been. It's where I'm at today and the things that we're doing within the community. We have a center which is open, which is fully funded. Along with the Shannon grant, like Joe and Emily said, we're under the SSYI. Before Roker came into the city, the SSYI was here, you know, from the very beginning. We have been able to work with the 17 to 24 and trying to catch them. But the whole idea to this is trying to get them early on before they get to that point where they're catching all these gun cases and all the drug cases that a lot of our young people are catching now. We are involved with the juvenile court. We're involved with the district court and Superior Court. Right? Most of the judges know who we are. The district attorney's office, with Tucker's office and stuff like that, we got a great relationship with them. So pretty much up until now, we've worked across the board in trying to figure out ways to reduce the numbers and the situations that are going on. For a minute there, we almost got out of the summer without a situation, right? And right towards the end, the situations began to happen. We react and we show up. I thank, you know, the city and I thank the families because most people know us and know the work that we do, so we're allowed to show up and allowed to do what we do, and this help the families. It's not, you know, coming on there, it's not for fame, it's trying to help the community and help the families. You know, in just like, you know, Emily and them were talking about, like, you know, the holidays are upon us. We're trying to take things and turn things around. You know what I mean? My partners, and I don't say they work for me, they, you know, they run this program. They're the ones that are doing all the work. I can stand here and say that I do this, that, and the other thing, but it's not an I thing, it's a we thing, right? So my team, we work together now. They put programming together. We're getting ready to launch some other things within the school system itself. So we're hoping that, you know, in the coming year that we're going to be able to do some things that's going to change the trajectory before summer comes, that we can make the proper changes. Under the Shannon grant, we're part of the drop-in center and stuff like that. So we're going to be getting more and more involved in stuff and trying to make some changes and trying to figure out what else can we do. You can't always put a basketball or a football or an event or anything like that in a kid's hand. I'm also a co-founder along with Freddie. You know, Stop the Violence Lynn. This year we tried soccer. That was a huge hit. You know, kids loved it. So we're trying to find different things that we can do with our young people before they end up becoming a number or a statistic or an issue. So I'm open for questions if anybody has any questions. I think and definitely know where the center is. I think everybody knows where I'm at, and I'm easy to find.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Councilor Hogan.
Just under this collaboration with Mayor Nicholson, Antonio, Lysoa, Roca, Stop the Violence Lynn, action is happening. We're going after those mentors. We're going after people stepping up. We got the Lynn Boys and Girls Club. We got the YMCA offering free memberships. We got things for these kids to do. And after that tragedy happened in August and we all got shook in this city, action came out of that. And that's what we're talking about. And these organizations that are on the ground doing this work, I commend them a lot. Because I was one of those kids growing up in this city that needed their help. And you can look at me today, but there's other kids that we're going to bring up, and they're going to be good kids, and they're going to get good out of this here. And that's what we're doing. And I thank all these guys involved, from the Lynn Police, from the mayor, on down to all these organizations. And like they said, we're always looking for mentors. So make a phone call, step up, and join this. Antonio, I thank you guys. I thank you for everything. And keep working hard for the kids. And believe me, it's going to reward. It's going to pay off.
You know, it's not sitting so much behind the wheel. It's walking and meeting people face to face. Just like the young man that's sitting next to my partner. He showed up tonight because he wanted to see and hear how this thing works. How is it that government works? He's sitting back there listening in to how this thing works. So make it a point and introduce yourself. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Antonio. Just a reminder, this is not a public hearing, so I'll take any questions from any of my colleagues in the city council. Any questions anyone have for either the mayor, the chief, or any of the representatives from Roca or Lysoa? No? Yep, Councilor.
Mr. Chair, quick question. Mr. Mayor, you don't have to come, Mr. Mayor. All you have to do.
The people on TV need to hear.
So if the first community event we had was very successful, and based on the statistics you mentioned, it was good numbers. What would be the timetable for the next round, or what area of the city? I could project it would be in other areas of the city as well. I just want to make sure that it will be equally distributed to other areas, not necessarily because my area of the city is safe, but the approach itself is very important to see our residents and you being there in their doorstep is also equally important.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you, Councilor, for your participation in the pilot. It's a great question. So we will be looking through the data, and we also have the benefit of working with the Lynn Police Department and the current data analyst and the one that's going to be coming on. So it's going to be a combination of a sort of approach informed by the data, and also feedback from the community. I would imagine that having started in East Lynn, it would be helpful to do outreach into West Lynn as well. Obviously, the weather and seasons plays into that when you're talking about going door to door. But we tracked the number of doors we hit, the number of conversations we had, the number of volunteers we had, and also the number of packets we gave out, English and Spanish. So it was about 2/3 English, 1/3 Spanish, and we'll take that information. We'll work with the Lynn Police Department and the data analysts, as well as we solicited feedback from the other departments that participated, and probably over the next couple months we'll put forward the next stop. And I think we'll need to reflect over time how frequently these are merited, whether you want to be more sort of responsive to particular incidents or to overall trends, and open to folks' feedback in terms of how to make the most use of those opportunities.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
I do have a question.
Councilor McLean.
There was a couple of gentlemen that stood up and offered their services at that Ingalls event. I was wondering was there any outreach conducted to those gentlemen?
So I think there will be when we do the mentoring event. It hasn't been scheduled yet, but I believe we had a sign-in sheet at that event. And either way, what we'll do is when we get that event scheduled, we'll put it out in the city's social media, and would ask all of you to help us amplify that, and please invite whoever might be interested.
Any other questions from my colleagues? No. Thank you, Mayor. I know at the state level, some may have already noticed the raise the age discussion that's been happening at the State House as far as the juvenile system for 18 to 20-year-olds, and the Celtics have taken a partnership with that. That's happening at the state level, so that's something for us to follow along with as far as how juveniles are seen through the system. I know I speak on behalf of Council President Walsh and Vice President Chakutis and my colleagues here on the City Council that I know this is an important discussion, and it's an ongoing discussion where we work close with the mayor, the chief, our community partners, so that we can identify where this outreach should be focused. So this isn't just a moment to speak. It's going to be continuing, and I know a number of elected councilors are in the audience tonight, as well as school committee members. It's a whole community partnership towards this in our city for the outreach, and not to be more proactive and not just reactive of these types of situations. And I think everybody here that spoke had already touched on how we are being proactive, and will continue to do that. So again, I appreciate everybody's time, and I appreciate those of you that shared your knowledge and being here for our committee this evening. Thank you. And without any other business, what is the wish of the Public Safety, Public Health Committee?
Motion to adjourn?
We have a motion to
Second.
adjourn, second, all in favor? Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you.
What I would call positive role model, mentor, a great Lynner who has given a lot of himself and his family to our city. Tonight we will honor the work of Khiry Todd. He is known as Khiry TKO Todd for his wonderful achievements in and outside of the boxing ring. His journey began at age 12, and he started in the gym working out, again, mentoring, positive relationships, building the foundation with his family and his community, and getting involved in boxing as a recreational and now as a professional boxer. He has compiled a 12-1-0 record with 9 knockouts. He has made Golden Gloves, the Nationals. He's an Olympian. This man hails from Lynn. He has given everything he has ever worked for in life back to the city he loves. He is out there. He is at the events if you so choose, and I know many of you have supported him through this journey. It is a remarkable honor to honor this achievement. This man tonight who has given a lot of his own self to our city, both inside and outside of the ring. And this council, we want you to know, along with Mayor Nicholson, we have your back, Khiry, and we are in your corner 100%. So you can look at us as your corner sort of cut team when you're knocking out your opponents throughout Massachusetts and across the country. So we honor him this evening. I would also want to recognize school committee member Lenny Pena for joining us this evening, former school committee member Michael Satterwhite, who was in our audience. I want to recognize school committee-elect Sean Reed, who was just elected last week, will start serving in January, along with new councilors who are here, Councilor of Ward 2-elect Obed Matul, Councilor of Ward 1, I think I saw Dr. Peter Meany in our audience, fresh back from the Bahamas, on a well-deserved vacation, celebratory of his win last week. And of course, Ward 4-elect Councilor Natasha Meggie Madry, who has been in Khiry's corner since day one. So we all know the hard work, the sacrifice, what it takes to compile not just a record like that, but to be Lynn, represent Lynn. We're so honored and proud of you. I know the mayor would like to come up and say a few words as well as we present joint citations. And I believe we'll also have a presentation from Rep. Dan Cahill from East Lynn, who will present state delegation citations as well. So I'm going to turn it over to the mayor, Mayor Nicholson.
Thank you, Councilor LaPierre. Thank you all for being here. There are, as you know, a lot of boxing metaphors in life. And one of the reasons is because it's an incredible contest for those of you that have watched boxing, and you can't help but pour yourself into those fights when you watch them. I think also it's a sport, and my sport was wrestling, but boxing in this way is similar. You get out what you put into it. And Khiry TNT Todd has put all of himself into it, and he's sharing that with us. And as Councilor LaPierre said, we're here for you. We're proud of you. You represent a whole community of people that are working hard, that are thrilled with everything you're doing and the way you're representing this city. Congratulations on behalf of the city.
We're also joined by Representative Dan Cahill of East Lynn, who will also help us with the citation presentations. All right, without further ado, and we're going to do pitches with Pat from the Lynn Journal, with counselors and counselors-elect and family. So we would like to call you up. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing, in this corner, who's about to come up, ringside, Khiry Todd, ladies and gentlemen. Come on up. TNT, 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 TNT,
I want to thank everybody for coming. This is important. When I was a kid, when I started at 12 years old boxing, I only had 3 people that would come to my fights. It would be Melvin, it would be my father, and it would be my Uncle Michael Todd, who passed away. When I was a kid, I always would go to the Hogan tournaments. I always wanted Fred Hogan to say my name on the mic when I was a kid, and now he said my name here. I want to say thank you to everybody up here that, you know, is behind me and got my back and supports what I do. It's not easy what I do. It's not like high school football or basketball where it's more popular. This is like a kind of like an underground thing until you make a name for yourself. And it's been very hard. When I was a kid, my dad would come to the gym right after work. He'd be up at 3, 4 in the morning, go to work, come to the house, pick me up after school, and he'll sit there all night, every night with me so I can live my dream and box. And I never forget those times. And my mother, you know, robbing Ticketmaster Todd, you know, Ticketmaster Todd. So I'm just very grateful. There's a lot of positive in Lynn that don't get the recognition that, you know, should. Where's he at right now? Jay Moon, he does the music festivals with KMF, and he's representing the city proud. We got music, we got sports, we got a lot of everything that people don't know about. We got a musician here, Jigs. There's a lot of people in Lynn that are positive and have a lot of potential to do good things, and that's what I represent. I represent the underdogs. I represent the have-nots that made something for themselves in Lynn. So I'm grateful, and yeah, that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Councilors coming. School committee members. Councilor-elect, join us, please. Families, family of Khiry, please join us.
Just like to also say on behalf of the Commonwealth, Khiry, we're very proud of all the accomplishments you've done. We also
Okay, everyone, squeeze. Oh, move the planter. Can you move the fake flowers?
Was it fake? Was it fake?
TNT.
TKO.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Ready? Quiet for the still photo.
Kai, come up. Tay, come up. Mom. Thank you.
Come on.
Come up, Dad, Mom, come up. Taylor. Khadij, Clea, Messiah, C, Tim.
Come on, the family,
Diggs.
join us.
Let's go, Mike. Melvin, let's go. I don't know if it fits everybody.
Oh, no. We'll fit.
What's up, my boy?
Oh, he's adorable.
I was going to say.
That's okay.
Mickey Clips. All right. Okay, I'm coming this way. All right. Okay, just rotate a little bit over here. Rotate. This way.
Half-hour cannabis has everybody done.
All right. Thank you, Diana.
Awesome. That's good.
That's so sweet.
That was beautiful.
TKO, not TNT. That's the
We only have one.
Ready.
Yeah.
Up to the council.
Oh.
like to call the Tuesday, November 14th council meeting to order. Roll call.
Counsel Alensug.
Present.
Present. Counsel Chakutis.
Present.
Present. Counsel Calucci. Present. Counsel Field.
Present.
Present. Counsel Hogan.
Present.
Present. Counsel LaPierre.
Present.
Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel McLean.
Present.
Present. Counsel Net.
Present.
Present. Counsel Staubed. Counsel Staubed.
Boxing.
Was here.
No, he's here.
He'll be back.
And Counsel Walsh.
Present.
He's around here somewhere.
Yeah. If we could have everybody that's not staying for the council meeting to go into the hallway, please, so we can do the meeting, please. Thank you. We all rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
That would.
Sorry, bro.
Oh, I'm doing council.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
Accept the minutes from the October 24th meeting.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion has been made and seconded, and it's approved. Communications.
We have appointment letters from His Honor the Mayor. Dear councilors, I am hereby appointing the following members. All of these members' terms will be effective immediately, and they are subject to staggered expiration terms. Appointments to Conservation Commission. Danielle Chambliss, 25 Houston Place. Daniel Silverman, 35 Central Square. Michael Toomey, 93 Judge Road. Mary Lester, 482 Bay Road, Southampton, Mass. Jocelyn Yarada Mott, 67 Marion Street. Appointments to the Council on Aging. Jean Marie Minton, 15 Landon Circle. Deborah Craig, 30 Ocean Street, Union 6. Appointments to the Disability Commission. Rosalind Conway, 43 Bloomfield Street. Rochelle Waterman Williams, 1 Rita Terrace. Megan Gonzalez, 34 Moffett Road in Salem. Patricia Capano, 105 Heights Road. Appointments to the Lynn Cultural Council, effective immediately. Juan Valdez, 17 Sherbrooke Place. Susan Brown, 26 Lafayette Park. Wesley Perez, 10A North Franklin Street. Sandy Ansowich, 451 Eastern Ave. Marissa Angeli, 39 Congress Street. Appointments to the Public Library Board of Trustees. Alicia Bingham, 1 Carroll Way. Anthony Seaforth, 107 Rockaway Street. Harry McCabe, 16 Reservoir Road. Tyrone Brown, 325 Chatham Street. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Mayor Jared C. Nicholson.
It's the wish of the council. Motion
Second.
approved. Second. Discussion. Councilor Field.
I don't know if I misheard under appointments for Council of Aging,
I'm sorry, there were 2 people that were,
people that were omitted.
there were 2 people that were taken out at the last minute.
Okay,
Okay,
so strike them from our,
sorry
Correct.
about that, yep.
okay.
Councilor Lapierre.
I just, I think I don't want to be critical when I say this. I know that we adopted the residency requirement to not have residency in the city of Lynn. I just think some of the board and commissions, we really need to do extensive outreach. A couple of these applicants are from out of city. And, the Salem one, you could argue close by, but Southampton, Mass., that is over 2 hours away. And how could a person from Southampton actually act on the best interests of our city on a conservation committee? And I know she's been on quite a long time, but when you move out of the city, I think you lose some identity of to where and what is happening in our city. And I would just offer, that we should be, a city of our size, right? And the adult populations, I'm not sure, but I know we're 100,000 plus residents. I would say that 60 to 70,000 of those are adult age and could serve on our boards and commissions. And I know the mayor's office done a great job at trying to outreach and doing extensive searches. But, applicants from Southampton and so forth, I think they should be held out by virtue of just not having the pulse of the city. And I feel strongly about that. So I oppose Ms. Lester and Ms. Gonzalez's appointments. And I would like to understand better the level of outreach we're making to make sure that we're represented, particularly on boards and commissions, And I know the others are Lynn residents, which I'm very happy about. And I know employment, people can obtain employment from outside of the city where they reside. But particular boards in the city ought to have some Lynn governance and a working knowledge of Lynn and Lynn's issues, particularly on the Conservation Committee. So I just offer that as a point of information, and I'm going to oppose the two, but vote for the others.
If I could, Counselor, I actually know Mary very well. Spends most of her time in the city of Lynn.
She drives to Southampton.
She's been coming up, and she's been one of the regular members that are always on the Zoom meetings or at a regular meeting, if I recall. She's been one of the ones adamantly at the meetings, following it. I understand the concern, but I can tell you from a personal perspective, I know her personally, and if that helps at all, I will tell you she's at all the meetings and knows this area. She's also the head of the Saugus River Watershed Committee, which oversees the Saugus River that runs through Lynn into Lynn Harbor. She's the president of it. So I would like to add that to that and give you the knowledge that she knows it pretty well.
I would hope she would make a commitment to come in person then if she's going to come to the meetings. That's all. It's hard on Zoom. Zoom is over with for the most part.
Well, I think she makes also the meetings in person, but I think she's done both. And I think if you look back and you check that, I think you'll find that out.
Still a 2-hour commute. Pretty far out there, Southampton. This isn't where she lived. I think she formerly was with Hamilton or Wenham. That's still on the North Shore. This is quite far out.
Any
Maybe
other
she
comments?
just recently moved. I don't know her history.
Any other questions, comments? It's the wish of the council. Motion to approve. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed.
Mr. President, maybe we can acknowledge some of them. They're here right now.
Yep, absolutely. I think there's some people here in the crowd. I see Harry McCabe is here. Anyone else that's been appointed tonight, if they could raise their hand? I want to thank you. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. It's definitely... It's needed. We need it in the city. It's hard for people to step up and come to these jobs, and we appreciate the people that do. So thank you again. Public hearings.
A public hearing to decide on the percentages of the FY24 tax levy to be borne by each class of real personal property and the financial effect of available alternatives, including the open space discount, the residential exemption, and the small commercial exemption.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Come on up to the podium. Is anyone here that wants to speak in favor of the tax levy? Okay. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing on that part of the hearing is closed. Anybody in opposition? Anyone who wants to speak in opposition? Anyone in opposition? Seeing on that part of the hearing is closed. What's the wish of the council?
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve. Second, any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey absent, Counsel McLean?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes. Motion carries. Next petition, public
We have
hearing.
a petition of Mark Cadis, 20 Gray Birch Terrace, Newtonville, Mass., to construct an 8-unit residential building with 4 floors, 2 bedrooms, and 6 parking spaces at 201-203 Boston Street.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor, give us your name, your address for the record, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Timothy Burke. My business address is 142 Berkeley Street in Boston. I'm the architect for the project. I'm representing Mr. Cadis, who could not attend this evening.
Okay, all right. Have a seat, and if anyone has any questions or anything, we'll bring you back up. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing on that part of the hearing is closed. Anyone in opposition? Come on up to the podium.
Mr. President, members of the City Council, my name is Jim Cowdell. I'm the lifelong resident, Mary Ellen Drive, Executive Director of EDIC City of Lynn. This project came before the development team, which, as you know, Mr. President, is a very important step in a development project. Concerns were raised. The Ward Council was there. It's in the top 100 dangerous intersections in the entire state of Massachusetts. We raised concerns about the parking plan, we raised concerns about the density, and if you're familiar with this project, Mr. President, it's right across the street from Popeyes on Boston Street. It looks like one half has been refurbished and the other half is actually condemned. We're very concerned about putting more additional vehicles, traffic at one of the worst intersections in the city, and we asked for some information, the Ward Council, specifically the city planner. We've not received that, and for that reason, we just think that it's a bad location and it's too dense for that area.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition?
Thank you, Council President. Aaron Clausen, Lynn Principal Planner. And just echoing Mr. Cadell's comments, I had a chance to review the project with the project proponent a couple weeks ago in the project review team. And as Mr. Cadell said, we had concerns about traffic onto and through the site and circulation. The site layout, parking dimensions, not only show that there is not enough number of parking spaces for the project under zoning, the ones that were proposed as a part of the project don't appear functional, so even less than as proposed. So without any additional review or changes at the site, I think my recommendation would be to not support this project as it's currently proposed.
Thank you. Anyone else in opposition?
Good evening. Joanne Lindner, 302 Linwood Street. I believe most of you probably know what I'm going to say by now, the overcrowding schools, the fact we couldn't swim at the beach because of the sewerage issues, and on and on and on. But actually, I do have sort of a suggestion for this lot, and Mr. Cowdell.
You got to direct, Joanne, you got to direct the questions.
Oh, okay, well, okay, hearing the last meeting, the fact that they are trying to get more services at that VA clinic, why doesn't the city buy that lot and hold on to it for maybe future development for the medical clinic? And I think it was a really great thing what he's doing, trying to get more folks to the city.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. What's the wish of the council? Councilor Jacutis?
Motion to deny. Meeting with Mark on the property, I felt there was not enough parking. It's a right-of-way. There is a nice house set in the back. You would have to back out onto Boston Street to get out of this development. With that intersection there, I just think it's going to be it will not be safe. There will be accidents caused, so it's motion to deny.
Second.
Motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilor Allensburg.
Yes.
Yes to deny. Councilor Chakoudas.
Yes.
Yes to deny. Councilor Calucci.
Yes.
Yes to deny. Councilor Field.
Yes to deny.
Yes to deny. Councilor Hogan.
Yes to deny.
Yes to deny. Councilor LaPierre.
Yes to deny.
Yes to deny. Councilor Lozey absent. Councilor McLean.
Yes to deny.
Yes to deny. Councilor Net.
Yes to deny.
Yes to deny. Councilor Stabbed.
Yes to deny.
Yes to deny. And Councilor Walsh.
Yes to deny. It's denied. Petition is denied. Public hearings to be set down.
We have the petition of National Grid to install one joint-owned pole on Bridge Street at the intersection of Boston Street and Bridge Street. Petition of National Grid to install one joint-owned pole on Western Ave at the intersection of Western Ave and Washington Street, and set down a public hearing on a proposed supplemental FY 2024 budget.
It's the wish of the council. Motion to set them down.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Set them down. All right. Committees. Licensing. Councilor Field.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a unanimous vote by the licensing committee. I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Recreational cannabis site plan review. Councilor Stabbed.
Thank you, Mr. President. One item on the agenda was the proposal to add a cannabis-infused edibles manufacturing site.
Just
We have $350,000 for upgrades to the Lynn Commons Historical Foundation Plaza, $100,000 to the school department for the FY24 e-machine program, $27,391.50 to the school department to cover youth employment, $400,000 to the school department for the FY24 FC 325 tag grant. We have the following orders. Pursuant to the votes of the Lynn City Council dated July 13, 2021, and September 28, 2021, regarding the American Recovery Plan Act, Lynn City Council hereby authorizes that the city shall allocate the sum of $30,000 for the American Rescue Plan Act for consulting and outreach services for the Capital Strategic Solutions, Inc. Ordered that pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A, the City of Lynn hereby accepts a gift from Win Innovations, formerly known as a Wheelabrator, in the amount of $3,500 for the purpose of donating resources for civic events, such as the annual tree lighting and children's activities. Further ordered that the comptroller is hereby authorized to take any and all necessary actions to effectuate the purpose of this gift. Ordered that pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A and 53A and a half, City of Lynn hereby accepts a gift from Tesoro, distributor of Everett, Mass., for a gift of food and delivery of food to the City of Lynn Senior Center, valued at $2,216.35. This gift will include both services and tangible personal property. And finally, ordered that His Honor the Mayor is hereby authorized to execute a project funding agreement for all other necessary documents relating to the MSBA Accelerated Repair Program for the replacement of windows and doors at the Druitt's Elementary School.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel McLean?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes. Was there any emergency on that, Counselor?
No, there was no emergency voted, Mr.
No
President.
emergency.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Public Property and Parks, Counselor Staben.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had one agenda item and one item under new business. Request from the Health Department to install Narcan cabinets on public property at 5 Pacific high-risk areas. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
We have a motion approved. Second. Roll call.
Counselor Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel McLean?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
We had new business, Mr. President. Request to use the City Hall foyer on February 6th, 2024, 6 p.m. for the annual Black Excellence Recognition Celebration. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
A motion. Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel McLean?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes. Is that all, Counsel Staben?
That was all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Okay. Utilities, Councilor Arlington.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 2 public hearings via National Grid, Jackson Street in Ward 3 and Nahan Street in Ward 4. We have a unanimous vote by the committee. Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Public Safety and Public Health, Councilor Field.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a vote on 2 constable reappointments and a discussion regarding public safety in the city of Lynn from His Honor the Mayor, Police Chief Chris Reddy, and representatives from both Roca and Lysoa. I make a motion to approve the appointments by unanimous.
Motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Is that it?
Thank you.
That is it. All right. Do we got any old business? I think we have some new business.
We have a new business. We have remarks from Mayor Jared Nicholson condemning hate speech and violence.
We have the mayor up to the podium here, please.
Good evening, Council President Walsh. Thank you, councilors, for having me. As you all know, Lynn's history is one of welcoming people from all corners of the world to build their lives and families in our neighborhoods. And our embrace of diversity is to be celebrated, especially as we continue to witness alarming spikes in anti-Semitism and Islamophobia around the globe. Even here in the city of Lynn, many of our Jewish and Muslim neighbors are living in a constant state of fear. I have asked to address you this evening and appreciate the invitation to make it clear that we will not tolerate anti-Semitism in my administration. We will not tolerate Islamophobia. We will not tolerate hate of any kind. The war between Israel and Hamas has been a frequent topic of discussion. And I know that the role of the United States is critical to the outcome. So I understand why it feels relevant. The country's role in armed conflict is and should be debated in a democratic society. What's not debatable is terrorism. Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7th was a vicious act of terror, and what has followed, how Israel is responding, is an active and sometimes polarizing debate, even within the Jewish community. In these challenging times, I ask our citizens to tamp down the flames of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism by making distinctions between policies and people. If you're sharing views to criticize policies or decisions, make sure to also make it clear that you support your Muslim and Jewish neighbors and their right to live in peace and safety. The tragedy of demonizing and then targeting an entire people has unfortunately played out repeatedly throughout human history. Enough to know that we all must be vigilant in preventing its recurrence. I met with a group of rabbis last week, faith leaders who serve Lynn's Jewish community, and they shared the trauma and fear of these days. They now have police cars sitting outside their temples. And it is our task as a community to address these fears and affirm for all our common humanity. As the mayor of Lynn, I care deeply about our constituents' identities as Lynners. But I also recognize that's one of many identities that you carry. Carrying multiple identities brings a powerful truth and harmony with humanity, and it's something we embrace and are proud of. I also understand the unique challenges that it poses for the democratic experiment. In other words, a functioning democracy across different identities remains a work in progress. With all our challenges, I firmly believe that we have a real opportunity to work to create that example. A democratic community that is actually open in practice, not just on paper. And my belief in that prospect is the driving force in my work as mayor. The city isn't involved in the Middle East. That's not our work. But I truly believe that what is our work is supporting our residents in supporting the pursuit of a thriving democracy across multiple identities with real paths to opportunity, which is in many ways unprecedented. And that's a significant contribution to the global mission of human freedom and dignity. We can't do that if anyone feels like they don't belong. To our Jewish residents and to our Muslim residents, you belong here and we support you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think everybody here feels the same way. I appreciate you coming up tonight and letting us know that we're on the same page with that. Thank you. New business. We have more new business.
Yep, we have a South Harbor presentation by Mayor Jared Nicholson and EDIC Director James Cowdell.
The mayor's going for the hat trick tonight, 3 times to the podium.
Tell him about it.
John, does that go any higher? Motion to fund.
We're supposed to get some renovations in here that will allow for
With the ARPA funds, yep.
screens and things like that. More modern lamps. ARPA lamps. lamps. Lamps now. There was a time when no one could hear us.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you again, Council President Walsh, for having me and all of you for the invitation to share. For decades, for generations really, the city of Lynn, in essence, turned its back on the waterfront in the way that the city was built. I'm talking over many generations. And as a result of a lot of hard work from a lot of folks, including a lot of the folks in this room, in this office before me, we now have an opportunity to flip that around, to make the most of the development opportunity that's here on the waterfront, and to do it in a way that doesn't result in the waterfront turning its back on the city and includes the city in the potential that we have here for growth. So we're really excited to bring this proposal forward. You all remember that one of the first things that we did together between the mayor and the council was establish the development team and the role that establishes for the ward councilor. And so I'd like to thank Councilor Hogan for his partnership. And we are excited to share with you, I think, the result of a really productive and fruitful process. This is the South Harbor site, so as you're coming over the bridge here, that first slide on the right, and it's a proposal for 850 units of mixed income housing, 26,000 square feet of retail, and an 8-acre public waterfront park. And I want to just highlight for a minute, particularly those latter two. We've talked a lot about the need for growth and interest specifically in commercial growth, and a development on the waterfront that gives everyone a reason to be there and enjoy what's happening there, that invites the entire community, that it itself is part of the community. And by creating a development that has that level of public amenities with the commercial retail space and the public park, I think this does that. We also want to make sure that the development itself is inclusive. And so what's being put forward would have a requirement for 10% of the units to be affordable at 60% of area median income. Obviously, there's a tax revenue benefit, particularly as the phase is complete, and that is something that would unfold over time. As we share these benefits, we talk about the benefits for the housing it creates, particularly affordable housing opportunities, the public access, the small business opportunities. We also have really put workforce at top of mind. And so there's a lot of benefits here in this proposal, specifically for trying to create jobs, especially for our residents. So there'll be jobs here that, as a result of the project, are paid at prevailing wage for the publicly funded infrastructure work. And as you can see here, we've gone to great lengths to try to create opportunities for collaboration with unions and organized labor that would result in job opportunities for our residents. An important one among those is requirements around compliance with employment laws, and then also a goal, a target for efforts to achieve 30% of the work by Lynn residents, as well as 25% by people of color and 10% by women. And to hit those goals, we've gotten commitments for significant worker outreach activities that include job fairs and advertising. At least 15% of the work would be include a registered apprenticeship program. So we know that it's going to be creating jobs, and what we'd have an ability to monitor it through the submissions of payroll to the city or our partner at EDIC. So I think that those are compelling benefits, and what I also want to submit is that in order to make sure that was the case, that we're confident that this was going to bring justifiable benefit for the community, for the tax incentive that it requires, we hired an outside independent third-party economics consulting firm to vet all the assumptions that went into developing the model about what was needed here to make this project viable, as well as an outside law firm, Anderson Krieger, to represent us in the negotiations. And I think we've been able to get to a point where we have that confidence. I think what's really important to note here is not just how great the project appears to be, but also how well it fits with the city's vision that's already been established in the existing plans. So the Waterfront Master Open Space Plan, the Municipal Harbor Plan adoption. I mentioned earlier all the work that's gone on for many years to create these kinds of opportunities, and according to the plans that have been developed with community input, this is what we're looking for. And that includes with the zoning that this project would be in compliance with. So we, again, really appreciate the partnership that we've had with the council and creating a development process that allows us to maximize the potential for community benefit and gets us opportunities to have wins across the board. I should mention that the developer here, Samuels and Associates, has a very strong track record in doing exactly these kinds of projects. You'll see in the pictures that it's more than just the buildings that are being built. It's aimed to be a community that invites people to be part of an experience. And the Samuels and Associates has that track record in doing that in other communities, and so we're excited to be working with them. Would invite all of you to review what we have to share here, and also to ask your questions. But I also would like to turn it over to EDIC Director Jim Cowdell.
Thank you, Mayor. Honorable members of the City Council. I want to thank the Mayor and the City Council for working collaboratively. I always have said in my experience that when the council and mayor work together, great things can happen. And I think this is a great example of that. I want to thank mayor's staff, John Tebow and Danielle Smith, and Aaron Clausen, the city planner, for working so hard on this project. As the mayor said, this area, it's the first thing that people see when they come into our city from Revere. It has been vacant for 40 years, and as I said, it's a gateway. And all the planning and all those plans, I think of Pete Capano, because he was the ward councilor when we started the waterfront plans, and we had 19 public hearings to set down the first master waterfront plan. And Pete and I used to always say, when you come over that bridge, we wanted something that said, wow, right? And when you look at those pictures, that's a wow. And so it was a dream that we had. And, to get a developer like Samuels is really just awesome. And so they're the real deal. Joel Sklar, who's the president of Samuels, Noah Maslin, who's the project manager, and Bill Coyne from Samuels are here tonight. If they could just raise where are they? Oh, okay, yep, right here. And so they're here tonight. I encourage you to look at their reputation. 15 years of history. They've done 6 million square feet of development in Boston. They have vast history of retail placemaking. And, this opportunity, we really didn't want just a silo of apartments. This is so much more than that. When you look at what's being developed here with the park, in the commercial corridor with restaurants, concerts, a place for folks to gather, It's what we dreamed about. And so I think I can offer a unique perspective because I know that a tax incentive is a difficult vote. I sat behind the reel for 20 years, and half of them as city council president. So I know what it's like to vote for a tax incentive. But the process that the mayor set up is so critical as I stand before you tonight. And the old process on tax incentives was the mayor and the developer, and then myself towards the end, would cut a deal, do the best that we could. We would come before the city council, I would present it to the city council, and that night we would want to vote. And compare that, right, to the process that was established by the mayor and the council. And Councilor Hogan, the ward councilor, I think that it was February that you first had the first meeting on this. You were, to be honest, when you started, you were saying, I will never vote for a tax incentive. And then you saw this project. And because of the process that is in place, we were able to bring in, as the mayor said, a private consultant who had no skin in the game, just objectively looked at it to say yes or no, did we need a tax incentive? And because of that process, we hired that consultant. Their honest assessment was, in Lynn, that project does not work without a tax incentive. That should give the council, comfort in knowing that this process with that input was in place. And the benefits, when you look at some of the recent tax incentives, we don't have the benefits that this project has, and the mayor listed them. That 8-acre park, that's an area that nobody has ever really utilized. I've lived in Lynn my whole life. What would you go down there for today, right? I want to go down there and sit on that park, listen to a concert with the Atlantic Ocean behind me. I want to go to those restaurants and those shops, and not have to leave Lynn to have an experience like that. So I think that the process has led us, and I don't say this lightly, this is a historic project. It's about a $450 million project. It's the largest private investment in our history that's before the city council. So it's really a historic project. I look at those pictures of what's going to happen, and right around the corner is the North Harbor Park, the Harbor Park that is happening. Everything is changing, and we need your support. We always envision this as our goal, and we have the perfect partner in Samuels to make this dream happen. So I just want to say that to you. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them, but I hope that you support this historic project.
I have a question.
Councilor?
How many kids are in Monroe Street are going to the Lynn Public Schools?
So,
Any idea?
I'm sorry?
Do you have an idea?
No, I have the exact number. So there's 259 apartments at Monroe Street. There are currently 3 children enrolled in the Lynn Public Schools.
Now, another question. When those restaurants open out, will you take me for lunch?
I think we could talk about that.
Any other relevant questions from
Thank you.
council?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Staubid.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jim, I'm sorry I couldn't make the meeting yesterday. And, I was in the meeting 2 months ago or so when we saw this, and it looks beautiful. And I cross that bridge heading back into Lynn every day.
Yep.
And I look at what is there now and what it looks like. My concerns, similar to Councilor Calucci's about, kids in the school, and even when we talk to the folks at Breakwater, and we know that there are kids there as well. But we, add 400 units there, 250 or so on Monroe Street. The ones going up on the Building 19 site, the 250 or so units across the street at the Auto Mall site, the 850 units. I mean, these are thousands of people, and I've brought this up before, and again, it looks fantastic, and what's there now looks decrepit. And it's an embarrassment of what it looks like now. But how are we going to address the public safety in particular? When I talk to police officers, members of the fire department, and they tell me that from Caldwell to Mosaic to Breakwater, they still get the same drug dealer, drug overdose, domestic assaults. One of my buddies on the fire department told me about how the other night They had to go to a domestic, the fire department responding to a domestic at Mosaic, and they got there before the police were able to. Without some sort of plan to address this much larger population that's now moving into the Linway and the waterfront. And again, I love the development, and I think it's high time that we see something nice developed down there. I think it's the largest, or used to be deemed the largest undeveloped waterfront parcel on the East Coast. But we have to, as I've said many times, talking about these developments, that as a community, we're charged with providing 3 basic things to our residents: public safety, public works, and public education. And sometimes I don't think we have the capacity to address those issues with those we have now. I'd like to know what kind of plan we have going forward to how we're going to address those 3 basic services to the folks that would move into these new developments.
Yeah, no, thank you, Councilor Stabbard. So in terms of the taking them, those 3, the schools, we certainly need new schools, and you know that, I know that, and that we're doing everything possibly that we can to do that. You may know that we've had some really positive developments with respect to the Pickering project. That project was in jeopardy, honestly, based on the financing, and as a result of the most recent rate increases by the board of the MSBA, it's in a lot better shape, and that will go a really long way towards addressing the overcrowding at the middle school level based on the design there. And we're also taking, there's a whole litany of steps that we're taking to add capacity throughout the system, from pre-K to high school, that I'd be glad to spend more time on when we had a moment. I also think it's really important to think about the data we have about these kinds of projects. So Jim mentioned the Caldwell specifically. The planning department had pulled 12 downtown multi-family projects, but that's 827 units, including the Breakwater and the Caldwell, and there were 16 Lynn Public School students in all those departments. So just empirically, it is not the impact on the school department that one might expect based on the number of units. For public safety and police and fire, we absolutely want to make sure that we are meeting those needs. I think at the moment we are fully staffed in the sense that we're trying to recruit more people to take the test so that we can hire them, and we'll continue to do that. In the long run, if we want to grow those teams as a community, we're going to need the revenue to do it, to support the workforce. And I believe that this is a project that offers a genuine return on the cost benefit of the services it would require versus the impact it would have on the city's revenue.
Mr. Mayor, I can appreciate that for you, Mr. President. But what are the plans other than adding bodies to Western Ave or Fayette Street or the Highlands or whatever, when all these units are down there? Never mind the Linfield Street area with what's being built up there, and we have the elderly, while they don't impact, or I should say the over 55, because I'm in that don't necessarily impact the schools, but they do impact the medical calls and the falls and lift assist and all that require constant runs, up and down the Linway, when we put another 500 or so of those folks up there, and then how they're going to quickly address calls down in this area. I truly think that we need to be working on some kind of a substation or something down there to put a truck or 2 in some offices in that place. And I kind of liken it to when the North Revere Road Quarry build-out started going. And that was one of the things, is they created that Revere/Malden. And I'm not saying we need to go in with another town or anything, and they are building a firehouse right across the bridge in Revere, but to create some kind of a substation down there so that they can be quickly addressed when calls come in.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We want to be optimizing public safety's footprint, and so we're actively working with the chief of the fire department, as well as the head of inspectional services and the chief financial officer. We have a lot of capital needs throughout the city, including the fire department, and we're taking every step we can to address them. You know, ultimately, those kinds of projects require debt to carry debt, and so you have to have budget capacity for debt service. So if we don't have budget capacity for debt service, then nothing happens.
We need to, again, address the residents that are there, when they're there. And I know it's kind of like, you know, what comes first, or how, you know, we need the money to address it, but, you know, maybe we need to be able to be creating partnerships with developers to help fund that. And it doesn't have to necessarily be some big elaborate, you know, station. You could put something, I don't care, the DPW yard.
Yeah, I mean, this project will likely, this will be a public-private collaboration, and so we're certainly open to having those conversations. It'll happen for sure from a utility perspective, a water and sewer perspective, and public safety is absolutely, you know, part of those conversations. And it's also a phased project, which is, you know, probably noteworthy. It's phase one wouldn't be complete until 27, and the third and last phase wouldn't be completed to 2033. So this is a long-term.
I'll be long gone before the shovel even hits the dirt.
So I have no doubt we'll have figured it out. Yeah. No, I know, and we talk about it, and we're addressing it by offering these opportunities for growth.
But again, would I love to see that when I cross the bridge every day? Yes. We'll be calling for those lifts.
Councilor Calucci.
I can recall on 37 Green Street, there was a substation over there for years, and then you just had no much money to keep it running.
Yeah.
Anybody remember that? Anybody remember that?
Reclaim our community in the 90s. There was a few of those.
There was one on the corner of Hanover Street, too.
Councilor McLean.
Yeah, I just wanted a focused and detailed explanation of the tax incentive. Can someone give us that?
Yeah, so it's a 20-year tax incentive. It's a $45 million tax benefit, and the city would receive $32 million in taxes. I think it's obviously worth noting. So there is a more detailed, like the actual numbers, and we can get you that. I think it's worth noting that at the end of the tax incentive and the phases, we're expecting somewhere around $6 million a year in revenue. The site currently brings in $60,000 a year in revenue.
So at each phase, there will be taxes paid, but it will just be a reduced amount at each phase.
Right. What they do, instead of paying as soon as the building is up, the value of the property increases exponentially. And what the tax incentive agreement does is it instead of that jump happening all at once, it spreads it out over time. So eventually the full tax amount is paid. It's just deferred over those on an escalating basis. But we have the year by year breakdown, and we can share that.
If I could, just a quick question too. I know we discussed this. As far as you're looking at not transferable, because in some ways I learned by mistake, right? So that happened where it was transferable. This is not transferable, correct? This is attached to this.
So this was certainly top of mind as we went through this process. And despite, I think, genuine assurances that the developer is in it for the long haul, we were certainly concerned about that scenario. And so the term is that if there is a sale within the first 10 years, then the city gets a portion of the proceeds as a sort of acknowledgement of that issue and a whole sort of trying to incentivize the fact that we have partners that are in it for the long haul. And similarly, based on feedback from prior agreements, there would be a prohibition on filing for real estate tax abatements within the first 10 years.
Right, which happened before. That's why we put that in there. So.
Exactly. And you know, I say this is a partnership, and I mentioned Councilor Hogan, but you know, Councilor Walsh has been extremely helpful in offering that kind of feedback. So we appreciate it.
Any other questions, Councilor Field?
Mr. President, Mayor, just looking at the top right photo, public park, is it public that city's maintaining that, or is that something that the owners of the property maintain any? Is there an easement, or how does that work? Do they have rights? Does the city residents have rights as far as that particular image?
Yeah, and it's an excellent question. This is a true public-private partnership in the sense that, the developer, it's us. It's also going to be a partnership at the state level. And so the developer is going to be working with the state for help with some of the coastal resiliency issues that the site has. And also included in the conversation at the state level is the Department of Conservation and Recreation. And I don't think we have any assurance yet, but my understanding is that DCR views this as the kind of park that they would be interested in supporting. And you may know that the commissioner knows the site very well as the former mayor of Revere.
Any other questions? All right, Mr. Mayor, thank you for that. I'm sure we'll have some more discussions and maybe some comments as people think about these things, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you
Appreciate
so much. We appreciate
it.
it. Thank you.
Thank you. 40 years, Jim, down there vacant. Did you ever go to the drive-in? Oh, man.
My high school job was built in 19.
All right. Any other new business from the council? No new business. We have what do we have, a motion?
Adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
Now that goes over.
To see how he could assist this child in receiving better grades. He would then give children rides if they needed them. He would give kids cleats if they didn't have them, and buy water so they could stay hydrated during practicing games. Melvin was always very passionate about helping his community, especially the youth, because he knows how children are treated and how their self-worth is affected by not having anything positive in their lives, depending on their home life. He has also been an umpire for almost 40 years for different organizations and schools, mainly the adult leagues, with some middle school softball games scattered in between. He is also a constable and has been since 1999. He tries his best to bridge the gap between landlord and tenant disputes to try and keep the tenant from being homeless by giving them information on organizations that help pay back rent. Melvin has also been involved in feeding the community for 20 years, between helping organize food pantries to helping elderly and low-income families have nutritious meals. Once the food pantries closed, Melvin, who was a retired welder from the General Electric Company, where he worked for 30-plus years, got a job at My Brother's Table, which is a soup kitchen that serves the homeless, elderly, and less fortunate. He got to guarantee 2 meals a day for people. He also served his country in the Army. He drove the supply truck to give his fellow soldiers more ammo, food, and anything else they needed. Congratulations, Melvin.
And at this time, I'd like to bring up the Honorable Mayor Jared Nicholson.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the City Council for inviting me to join. On behalf of the city, it's just really an honor for me to extend our appreciation to Melvin Lark Sr. for all your incredible work. Having someone like Melvin do this work helps the community in so many ways. Those Pop Warner opportunities are so critical for youth to learn about the world, to learn about each other, to learn teamwork, to learn competition, to learn discipline. So just getting on the field is really important. It's doubly important that you have an upstanding leader like Melvin carve out that time to be a role model for those students. So you're helping them by creating the opportunity. You're also helping them by being there and being yourself and showing them that example. And then even more so for them to know that someone like you, with your leadership, your service to this country, your service to your community, takes an interest in them, means the world to them. It means the world to us. We're incredibly grateful for your service to this community, and on behalf of the city, and also on behalf of my colleagues from the state delegation, Representatives Peter Capano, Jenny Armini, and Dan Cahill, and Senator Brendan Crichton, as well as all my colleagues here, we just want to say thank you for so much for your help. Thank you.
Can we please rise and give him one round of applause, this guy right here, please, let's go. At this time, I'd like to invite my colleagues from the City Council to come up so we can take a picture with Melvin. Here you go, Melvin. Let's get you guys a hold of something. I gotta make sure the City Council wants me in show them too.
I'm ready.
Oh, Senator Craig. I can hold it. You want to be down?
Here, Councilor at Large. I'm joined by my colleague Brian Field, also Councilor at Large, and Mayor Nicholson, and Council President Jay Walsh, who represents the area in which Private Jewels has been in our community for a number of years. It is Private Jewels Boxing Club who has put Lynn on the map in 2023. It's the members of this audience, the young members, who have nationally been recognized and regionally recognized for your athleticism and your scholarship and the way as scholar athletes maintaining a superb grade point average to even be able to step into the ring. And that grade point average exceeds 2.8, and we always strive to be 3 and 3+, and almost even if we can get to 4.0. I know it's a high bar, but I know you can do it, and I know some of you have. This would not at all be possible, this ceremony, this recognition, to look at the crowd this evening, to see your families here, in front of our wonderful city councilors, recognizing you for your athleticism, for your championship pedigree. We have citations for each and every one of you who have come this far, and I really want to applaud the efforts of owner, proprietor, and coach Alex Sepulveda. Coach Sepulveda has donated and ran with countless hours of preparation for you, to prepare you for these tournaments in which you have been unbelievably, as I said, putting Lynn on the map both regionally in the New England region, but also nationally as of late. So it's quite a tribute to you, to him, to Private Jewels Fitness and Boxing Club as a whole. We are honored to have you as a neighbor in Ward 7 in West Lynn. So without further ado, we'd like to recognize the following folks who have achieved greatness in our city, both academically and, of course, in the ring. And hopefully you took care of business in that ring as well. So to recognize U.S. boxing ceremony at this time, I'm going to call up Michelle Albuquerque. And if they're not here, we'll get them their citation at a later time. But please come up if you're here, and would you mind staying, because we'll do a photo as well at the end. Also, Nicholas Belez. Is Nicholas here? Come on up. Come on up. Excellent, excellent. How about Anderson Blanco? Is Anderson around? Thank you, Anderson. Come on up. Is John Caltaveri Chavez here? John Chavez? Also, next is Elijah Garcia. Is Elijah in? Yep, come on up, Elijah. David Londano. David, are you here with us? Thank you. Come on up, Dave. Daniel Mate. Daniel, come on up. Alex Mencia. Is Alex with us? Alex, come on up. Bring that hardware up, too. We want to see it all. Don't be shy. You can brag tonight on behalf of your city honoring you. We are a grateful city for that. Gabrielle Mercedes. Gabrielle. A couple of Gabrielles here. Gabrielle Palmas. Gabrielle Palmas as well. Come on up, Gabrielle. The 1-2 punch, we'll call you. Gabrielle 1 and 2. How about our coaches now? Coaches Chris Velez. Coaches Ricardo Garcia. Coach Armani Rodriguez. Coach Brian Terrian. Put in so much work, Brian. Coach Alex is with us. And Coach Janet Sepulveda. Come on up, folks. It's really an honor to recognize you here. And I'll also, in short time, turn it over to the mayor. I know he has some words as well. But we are really, really excited to have you all with us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor LaPierre. Thank you to the council for hosting us. And I am so excited on behalf of the city of Lynn to congratulate Private Jewels for their incredible success, the champions you're making, and the lives you're changing. Congratulations, Private Jewels. I never boxed, but my sport was wrestling. So I wrestled, and I know that feeling when you walk out on the mat in the ring and you turn around, it's just you out there and your opponent's there. But it's really not just you out there. You have a whole team that's fought with you, that's pushed you, that's made you the best you can be. And I just want you to know, all of you here and all of you folks in your team and your club, that you always have the entire city of Lynn behind you in your corner, rooting for you, proud of what you're achieving in the ring, in the classroom, and we want to say congratulations and recognize your hard work. Congratulations.
Yeah, we'll do a picture, Pat. Want to line them up down there? We also, I just want to make sure that everyone know we're doing from the state delegation. All the student athletes will also receive citations from the state delegation and the mayor's office along with the city council. So you have the trifecta here tonight. Be very proud of your kids. It's wonderful. And we're going to do a picture, right? We'll line up right down there. Please go, coach and owner.
Guys,
oh, goodness.
I know, thank you.
Enough of that.
Yeah, I know, sorry about that. Guys, I'm so grateful for everybody and what everybody's doing for our kids. These kids are old Lynners. They represent our city well, and not just in a sports way, but in the academics. Some of these kids are going to MIT. Some of these kids are doing big and major things. So just the support made them work even harder. And myself being a Lynner, and he was my coach in baseball. Woo, long time ago. Jesus Christ. I had hair back then. But I love the city. And the support that this city always had, always been amazing. And I love the city. I'm a proud Lynner. These kids are proud Lynners. I'm going to stop because I'm about to cry. And thank you. I'm so grateful for everything, every single day, the support that we get on social media, the support that these kids get in everywhere they go is just amazing. And I am only truly grateful and humble to my city. Thank you, guys.
Sorry about that. We go? You guys going? Calucci? Going up there?
Yeah, no one lost any teeth in the ring this week, right? Okay, all right.
Huh?
Just the other guy. The other guy couldn't take a picture like this. He's still knocked out.
Gotta be that leg.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Come on, Councilman McLean, I know you got this.
Phil, thumb outside
Ready?
the fist.
Say queso. Bilingual boxes, see that? Beautiful.
Knockout. Knockout. Oh, one more. Cat wants it. Cat wants it. Cat wants it.
Let's go.
Cat wants it. He wants to go with us.
Ready?
Oh, Coco time.
Go.
Woo! Congratulations.
I'd like to call the October 24th council meeting to order. Roll call.
Councilor Allensog?
Present.
Present. Councilor Chakoudas absent. Councilor Calucci? Present. Present. Councilor Field?
Present.
Present. Councilor Hogan?
Present.
Present. Councilor LaPierre?
Present.
Present. Councilor Lozey absent. Councilor McLean?
Present.
Present. Councilor Net?
Present.
Present. Councilor Staubed?
Present.
Present. Councilor Walsh?
President, I'd just like to say real quick,